Hi, it's Michael from Culture Talk and Tours, and I am here today with Abigail Nelson, an artist based in Taiwan. Abigail, thank you for taking the time to meet with us today.
Yes, of course.
Now, we met Abigail at the Morrison Christmas Bazaar, and we've stayed in touch. You came to my show, the Mexico chapter at Lay Gallery, and I invited you to my opening this weekend, but she's got some news. She's not able to make it.
Yeah.
Now, today we are at Yokoyama Cafe here in Taichung City, Taiwan, which is where Abigail does a lot of her work.
Yep.
So to start with, Abigail, where are you from?
Yeah, I'm from Portland, Oregon.
Okay.
My family is living in Seattle right now. So we came, my husband and I moved here in 2018. And we've spent 3 years in Kaohsiung and 2 years in Taichung.
Okay. You answered my next question. How long have you been in Taiwan? Now, we met at the Christmas Bazaar for Morrison School, and something that you had for sale that I thought was genius, and I had already been thinking about it, but you beat me to it, was your coloring book.
Yeah,
do you have that?
I do. My coloring book, Formosa, which is kind of a celebration of Taiwan.
Right.
I went through some of the major cities, tourist attraction cities in Taiwan, and drew different places and things like Rainbow Village, the Xiaoliuqiu sea turtles.
So you've got Taipei 101.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I've got Taipei 101, the love sculpture in Taipei. I should do it this way.
Yes. Milk tea.
Milk tea, of course.
We're having a little milk tea now.
The Formosan Black Bear, Taichung Park.
This is Taichung Park, the famous landmark here in the city.
This drawing was actually suggested by the owner of this restaurant. He knew that I was making the coloring book, and when I was trying to figure out what to do about Taichung, he suggested Taichung Park.
And this is kind of, we see this on the street lights here, we see it on signs,
the sewer
on
caps.
the bus.
Yeah, everywhere.
So if you see this, you're in Taichung City.
I also did Rainbow Village for Taichung.
Yes, which we haven't been to, but we want to.
But I heard that it's gotten painted over.
Yeah, there was some sort of...
So sad.
Yeah, there was some sort of issue there.
Yeah.
But we're gonna look into it.
Yeah.
And the sea turtles.
Sea turtles from Xiaoliuqiu.
So you went to Xiaoliuqiu?
Oh yeah, Xiaoliuqiu is one of my probably favorite places in Taiwan.
Right.
I've been more than 20 times in the past 5 years. And you always see sea turtles.
And if you were in Kaohsiung, then it's so easy.
Where I lived in Kaohsiung, it was a 45-minute drive to get to, including the ferry ride to get to the island.
Okay.
And so we went, for one of the years, we went every weekend.
Wonderful.
It was wonderful.
We went last summer vacation, and we went with friends from Kaohsiung.
Oh, yeah.
Shout out to Andy and Vic. And they said, oh, don't spend so much time there because the people that live in Kaohsiung, they go for a day.
Oh, yeah.
But we stayed for 3 days, and it was magical.
It was magical.
And we saw sea turtles as well.
Yeah.
But at first you're like, oh my God, sea turtles. And then it's like, what is that just swam by me?
Yeah.
Another sea turtle.
Yes. And they're so populous that you can stand on the shore and you can look out and you can watch them.
And up above, we did that tour of the caves and stuff, and you can see them from up above.
Yeah.
I wish we had started this series back then because we went to a cafe owned by an Iranian man.
Oh yeah, I think I might have been there.
Yeah. And then we met his family, his daughters. They were bringing out rosewater ice cream. Just such a great experience. And then we met in Kaohsiung, that restaurant, the American. He's from Arkansas or something.
Yes.
What's
Arkansas Diner.
Yeah, Arkansas
in
Diner.
Landis.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
They're on our list too, so we'll have to tag them.
Yes, you absolutely will. Shout out to my friend Candace, who loves the Arkansas Diner and is good friends with Landis.
Okay, so set up a meeting. We need to learn how to make those biscuits or something.
He's so good. It's so good. It's very authentic.
And it's an institution. They've been there forever.
Forever, yeah.
So this is such a fabulous idea where you travel and then you just get an idea for something. This was my favorite because if you know me, mango season.
Oh, it's the best season.
Yeah, mango season. So we've got an upcoming episode where we're going to do mangoes and the shaved ice.
Oh, very cool.
So we'll be doing that. And this one...
It's from Kaohsiung.
Yeah, beautiful.
The famous 85 Sky Tower.
Yes.
And then the other one from Kaohsiung was, of course, the Taiwan tiger and dragon pagodas.
This is cool. We'll have to do that one day. And then we're hoping to be doing something with Sunny Hills Pineapple Cakes.
Sunny Hills Pineapple Cakes is such a cool place.
Right?
And their pineapple cakes are really good.
Yeah, and now they have different limited edition flavors like apple, and apparently there's a strawberry one for summer.
That's very
So Sunny Hills, they've replied to me, and it was kind of like, we'll get back to you, but I'm getting back to you. So pineapple cakes, everyone knows Taiwan.
Very good.
This I want to do. Did you go to that?
I have not gone to the Sky Lantern Festival in Pingxi, but I went to I can't remember. Shufan.
Okay.
Shufan.
Right.
And,
I know there's a couple, right? This is cool. On my list too. I hope we can do it next year. And this is the bridge.
Yeah, which is really fun.
Yes, we went there. I think my first trip to Taiwan, we went there. It's so beautiful.
It's so beautiful. The day that I crossed it was such a hot day that by the time me and my friend got to the other side, I was like, we need to take a break, and I need to drink all of the water that I have before we walk back.
I hope that next year when I have more time, I'm able to go see that.
It's very, very cool.
Beautiful.
And then National Taichung University is a very cool, built into the hill university out in Taichung.
Yeah.
And then, of course, 7-Eleven.
7-Eleven.
What is Taiwan without 7-Eleven?
But again, for friends, you're from the States, I'm from Canada. It's so different. Than
one of my first thoughts when I moved here and went to 7-Eleven was, man, Taiwanese immigrants to the States must be sorely disappointed every time they go into a 7-Eleven. Like, I can't imagine how stressful that would be.
Yeah, no drinks, no bento boxes.
No ability to pay your bills.
Yes,
you gotta,
right?
It was just, 7-Eleven is the epitome of convenience.
Everywhere.
Yeah, and so close.
We just were at an art exhibit, and they had several 7-Elevens all painted together. So it was the artist's favorite 7-Elevens. If I can find the picture, I'll post it as well. That's really
cool.
That's good one. And I like 7-Eleven better than Family Mart.
Oh yeah, for sure. It's the
Sorry, Family
best.
Mart.
I will also say that 7-Eleven has my favorite drinks.
Right.
The matcha lattes at 7-Eleven are far better than Starbucks or anywhere else.
Okay. Keep that in mind.
Quite good.
Unless Family Mart wants to do an interview, then I love you. And then scooters, if you know Taiwan.
You know, they're everywhere.
They're everywhere.
I have loved the scooter culture here.
Yes. And then this one, Toroko National Park.
Yeah.
We'd love to go to Toroko as well. I've been.
Stunning. Stunning.
And then whenever you stop to take a picture, there's like a sign that says gravel is
watch out for rock fallings.
Yeah, boulders can fall.
The first time I ever went, I was like, I feel like I'm on an alien planet because the marble is just in the water, the minerals in the water.
Yeah,
it's absolutely
crazy.
Stunning. It's absolutely
Beautiful.
Stunning. And the same with the Eternal Hot Springs in the same area.
Yes.
Or not Hot Springs, excuse me. Spring Shrine.
Yes. Beautiful.
And then, of course, a traditional tea set. If you've ever been out to Jiufan, then you know. I mean,
Beautiful.
If you've been anywhere else.
Yeah.
And then finally, one of my favorite places in Taiwan, because I like little weird things, is the Futuro Village that's up in Wanli.
Okay.
There's very few.
Haven't been there.
There's very few places where these types of houses exist anymore. They're atomic age style houses, and they were built for a long time. And the one that happened in it's not Taipei, it's up Keelung area on the coast. They built them for American military, so they could have a place that felt like home. And this is the largest community of still standing UFO houses, the Futuro houses in the world, is in Keelung.
Okay.
And there's a couple of, it's not the Futuro houses that still have inhabitants. There's a couple of ones that are from the same time period. I think they're called Venturo houses, but they're more square, less alien-esque.
Okay.
And they have a couple that are still inhabited.
Okay.
But they're very neat. You're technically not allowed to take pictures. There's signs all over in the community saying don't.
Right.
I don't know why, but most of them are falling apart. Okay. But they're very, very cool.
So you just did some sketches there.
Yes. And definitely didn't take any pictures.
No,
of course
that would be wrong. And is there some way that people could get this book? Do you have a website?
I'm working on a website right now, but if you follow me From the Pineapple Fields, and if you message me, I can help you acquire a copy of it.
Okay.
Eventually, I will have a storefront where you can buy it, but that hasn't all been put out into the universe yet.
Yeah,
I'm working on it.
But we'll send those vibes out.
Yeah.
Now, my question for artists or people living here from other countries is always, how did you find yourself in Taiwan? What happened to make you say, I need to go there?
Yeah, I actually just came. I had done very little with art before coming to Taiwan.
Okay.
So I came out of a desperate desire for international travel and for wanting to be cross-cultural.
Okay.
And so I just 1 year, partway through my school's year, because I'm a teacher,
Yes.
I was applying to international jobs, found the school I came to Taiwan with, went through the interview process and came. And I had done a lot of acrylic work, just for not to do anything with, but just for my own self. And then I found myself in a dorm parenting position instead of a teaching position 2 years ago.
Right.
And at the same time, I ended up buying my first tablet, and I started with Procreate. And so it's been a very quick 2 years of learning how to use it, learning how to do digital art, and here we are.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that is my next question. I did notice, though, that at the Christmas Bazaar, you had these fabulous watercolor cards, and I did get a couple of those as well. So if you're on my Christmas list, maybe you'll get the card from Abigail, because you had like bicycles with Christmas trees. I'll try to take a picture and put that in the video as well, or you send me some.
Yeah, for sure. I also do watercolor.
Right.
Watercolor was the first medium I picked up after acrylic, and I picked that up maybe 3 years ago. I really love working with watercolor, like, so much.
Okay.
But I found that digital art gives the perfectionist inside of me like some happiness, because there's more control, and you can erase and start again, and erase and start again, erase and start again.
So that's what your main focus is, digital art right now. And are you, because we have met other digital artists before we started this series, but we're going to have to track them down and interview them. Are you printing them, or you...
I mostly do non-printed commissions is my biggest source of like art income.
Okay.
People tend to like what I do, and they will message me, and we'll work something out in between budget and time and stuff, and I'll draw it for them, and then I send it their way, and they print on their own.
Okay, so you haven't had a show with things printed?
I have not.
Okay, because that is a whole other...
The next
world,
step,
because which I learned, you can do different papers, you can do different glosses and texture and finishes. If you want it really muted and kind of bland, you can do that. And it fascinates me, because I'm
even just
not
with
into
the
that at all.
Printing of my stickers, I'm learning how significant the difference is with like color profiles, like CMYK versus RGB.
Yes.
Like, it makes a huge difference if you're drawing in one and getting it printed in the other.
Yes.
Like in the muted of the colors or the bright distinction of them, which is not something I would have ever thought of, coming from being a pen and paper artist for so much longer.
Exactly.
So it's been a learning curve for sure.
Yes, you're learning all the time.
Yeah.
And even just getting the postcards printed for my show, from my prints, it has to be in this gig or something, and I'm not into any of that, so it was kind of like back and forth with the printer, but we do have a good printer now. So once you do print something, we'll have to keep in touch. If you have a show where you've printed something, that would be interesting to see as well, how you pick and choose. So your medium now, you're mostly focused on
the digital. I think I'll probably pick up watercolor again when I'm situated back in the States, which that's what's happening recently as I'm moving back. Because as of right now, my watercolors and papers and suitcases. So
all packed up. Okay, so that is part of the story. We are here on a Friday night after both of our work, because Abigail is moving back to the U.S. And it was kind of, we had this idea floating around for an interview. And we had a few appointments fall through, so I reached out to you, and Abigail said, I'm leaving. And I thought it was for the summer, but it's forever. So, well, we don't know forever, but it's...
for a substantial amount of time.
So that's why we're excited that you took the time to meet us.
I'm glad to be here.
I know it's a busy time for you. Now, we saw your coloring book, and you said you also have stickers, which were quite interesting.
I just did a whole bunch of different random ones. My main medium, or my name is from the pineapple fields, which is because when I lived in Kaohsiung, the location of my apartment was literally surrounded by pineapple fields. You could see acres of them in front, and they were all behind, and it was such a very cool experience watching them cut the pineapples and replant the pineapples and cut up the pineapples, like all in your front yard, literally.
Wonderful.
So that is my hallmark, is the pineapples. And so there's just a couple different ones.
Cool.
Another thing I've learned doing digital art is that I tend to be someone who likes all the color variation, and so I ended up my first run of sticker printing doing very similar styles and a huge variety of colors, thinking, I'll pander to more people who will like these things, and I've learned that probably wasn't the way to have gone.
Right.
But it's a good learning curve for me, especially being in such a inexpensive place like Taiwan. When you make those decisions, you're not out $50, you're out like a couple.
It's a lot easier to get things printed here.
Yeah, so I'll just put out a couple of the ones that I've done.
Okay. And also your t-shirt you've had printed. So do you have a merch line, or you're working on it?
I have been working with someone in Kaohsiung, a friend of mine from the school that I was at in Kaohsiung, who does his own printing for some stuff. And so I sent him a small amount of files, and he printed off a limited run of a bunch of different things for me.
Yeah, we talked about this.
Yeah, so I don't have anything officially out yet, really. I'm doing that thing where I'm waiting on getting the website situated before I start really pushing it, because I don't want to have merch or even too much out before I have a place to advertise it. So,
So it's step by step.
Coming. It's coming. Yeah.
So if you see something you love, okay, so we've got your pineapples.
Yep.
Is this a character here?
No, they're just my unicorns. I call them my emo corns because of their beautiful jewelry, their bejeweled self.
And kind of dragon, dinosaur.
Yeah, some dinosaurs, and my reading unicorn, and spaceships. I love aliens and UFOs and all of that. Obviously, my Futuro houses.
Right.
And then some dinos.
Yeah, the UFO's cool.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like a little animation, which is so different from your watercolors.
Oh, yeah.
I'll have to find, well, send me a
Yeah,
picture.
I will.
And if I find the Christmas cards that I got, I'll take them out and add them as well. So you're kind of everything. Yeah. You do a little of this.
I do. Yeah. I do. I really enjoy it. I enjoy feeling those pieces in my head come to life. Right now I'm working on a commission of a tree house with a penguin knight and a giraffe that someone requested from me, and I do a lot of like very cartoonish, like in this kind of style, that very cartoony style family portraits that go like up in kids' rooms and stuff like that. And it's been fun because I feel like I've been more settling into a style than I had when I was doing watercolor, but kept it like, I'm trying to think of the right word, but contingent isn't the right word. The same, which kept it similar, was that my style of painting was what was similar. Whereas these, it's the actual, the way they look, and they feel like they could come out of the same story. Okay. I'm also working on a children's book right now.
Wonderful. Oh, that's cool.
So that's up and coming
because that was my next question. Was do you see these going somewhere? Yeah. Is it characters from this? We are in a cafe and they are making a cappuccino. So remember, we're in a cafe. Do you think that it'll be these characters that are going into the book?
Well, this book that I'm writing right now is called J is for Justice, and it's an alphabet book for kids that has some social justice things to it. I'm very excited about it.
Wonderful.
And I think that the characters I'm planning on doing right now, I haven't quite decided if I'm going to lean into them being animals or if I want them to be people, because I want there to be more weight behind the concept of the book.
And that people can relate to it. Yeah.
Exactly. But I have used some of these characters before in other very short, small things. And I'll probably use more again. But most of these that I do are like, this is a one piece for a one thing kind of a deal, you know? Like, there's not necessarily a background. It's more like, that'd be cute. And then we go with it.
That might work.
Yeah.
I wanted to go back to something you said about, so you were teaching in the States. And was it elementary school?
Yeah, I taught 4th grade for 2 years, and then I taught 2nd grade for 2 years.
Okay.
And then at the end of that, my last year teaching 2nd grade, I made it to Taiwan, and I taught 6th and 7th grade for 2 years, and drama, and middle school drama. And then I taught 5th grade for a year, and high school and middle school drama.
Right.
And then I came to be a dorm parent with high schoolers.
Okay.
So I've actually had, like, working with kids the gamut. I've worked with 2nd through 12, between all of the different things I've done.
Okay.
Yeah.
And you were saying that once you came here, you wanted to be more artistic when you came here, or this is Taiwan?
It was a catalyst, being out of my comfort zone, not having some of the same, what's the right word? Like ways to numb my brain, I guess.
Right.
Like when I would go hiking, I did a lot of backpacking in the States. Here it's just too hot.
Right.
So instead of being able to go backpacking for a weekend, I would pick up my pencil and draw a little bit or start sketching. And then one of my friends started getting really into watercolors, and I was watching her do it as just purely relaxation. She had nothing more to go off of it than that. And I was like, that sounds like so much fun. And so then I picked up a watercolor set and I started doing it.
Right.
And I was like, oh, I forgot how much I love letting my artistic side out.
Right.
When I was a kid, I was drawing all the time. I have like sketchbooks filled with stuff and stories and cartoons that I had written, and I'd sent into several contests over the years, and I just kind of stopped. You know, and we get it. It's like the Peter Pan. You grow up and you just forget what it's like, right?
You have bills to pay.
Exactly, and drawing doesn't always pay the bills.
No. And
so I had put it all aside, and I had brought a few things to have fun with, and then the watercolor was fast and easy, and it just grew from there. And then getting the tablet was a huge catalyst, because then there's no extra cost after you have it.
Right.
It's paid for. You can do whatever you want.
Make as many things.
Yeah.
Right. And also from your coloring book, you can see you're just finding inspiration everywhere.
Yeah. It's very different. Like if you look at the style between most of the different pictures in the coloring books, like it's just such a different kind of drawing style even than the stickers, and it's fun to figure out what goes well with what.
Right.
Yeah.
And the reason I did buy a copy of it, the reason why I enjoyed it so much is that it can be used for children.
Yeah.
If you are, because we did a theme on Taiwan travel to Taiwanese students.
Right.
Because I find they go to Thailand or Malaysia, they're not really traveling around their own country, which is kind of a bummer.
Because we know how amazing it is.
Like you've got this stuff. But again, I can see it because I grew up near Niagara Falls. So when I go to Niagara Falls, it's kind of like, okay, let's go. But then my friends who are visiting are like,
it's
wow.
Like the Space Needle in Seattle.
Like they're used to it. But yeah, it is a different kind of medium.
Yeah.
But I like that adults could use it, children could use it.
Well, and when I was kind of working on it, it was right before I decided that we were gonna that I was gonna go head back to the States, and I had been thinking about like, what kinds of gifts do I wish that I had to express to friends back in the States that I could show how amazing Taiwan is.
Right.
And so I had kind of been drawing it as, this summer when I go back to visit, I'll bring some of these with me and give it to my friends. And then it turned into everyone else thinking the same thing. I sold like 300 copies of the book total.
Wonderful.
And
even more after this episode
hopefully.
airs.
Which was really a neat experience for me. I think
cool.
it was one of the first times that Christmas Bazaar is one of the first times I made money off of my art.
Right.
Like printed art. I'd been doing commissions a little bit before that, but it was really a cool experience to have people who I know be like, I would pay money for something that you made versus, you can draw me a thing, and that was a very humbling experience.
Yeah, and I just think you meet people. Like we met, and I was with a group of people, and the group left, and you and I were talking. People were buying stickers around it, and we just kind of. I found you to be really interesting, and I wanted to stay in touch, and I knew what you were saying a little bit. Like I remembered all of this, and I thought it was interesting how you had been to these places, and that. Yeah. And we just did an interview in Oman with an artist, and she was saying she's from Colombia, and she's seeing things all the time, and her husband and kids are like, come on, Mom. But she's seeing things, and I'm like that with my friends. Right? Yes, and I can see that this guy's packing a bag behind us, and they're making something over here. Like, I'm always looking. Yeah, I'm always looking at stuff. So when I meet another artist who's noticing like UFO buildings, like I would like that.
Yeah.
And I'm always taking little pictures of little things that I want to put in somewhere, because I find that when we're here too long, what we think is everyday stuff is not everyday for people back home.
Right. And I've been processing that a lot actually recently, with thinking about leaving and the things that I won't have access to anymore.
Right.
And even just the mundane of like 7-Eleven convenience, I won't have access to that anymore. But then also the sunsets and the like seeing the mountains come up with the clouds behind them in the way that we can in that Taichung skyline, that's gone. And Taiwan's huge, luscious, gorgeous cotton candy clouds, you know, like we don't get those up in Seattle in the same way.
No. And I'm looking behind us, there's orchids blooming.
Yeah.
I went for a walk in the park, and the neighbors from the area put their orchids, it's orchid season, we'll do something on that as well if we have time, but they just tied their orchids to a tree in the park, and then they just look at that. Well, orchids are like $20 at home. Like,
and they die immediately because who can keep them humid enough in, you know,
but
like...
we've got humid.
Yes, we do.
We've got humid in Taiwan, but just all these little things.
Yeah.
And also with my Taiwanese friends, there's things that I find beautiful or interesting. I'm not going to say too much because we're doing other episodes on that, but there's little mundane things that I find beautiful, and they'll say, you think everything's beautiful, but when I take a picture of something, everyone at home is like, wow, that's so great. Yeah. So that's why I thought your coloring book was so...
Well, thank you.
Yeah, wonderful.
I've been to all of those places that are in the book. That was part of the reason why I was there. And many of those I went on over 3 years actually. A friend of mine and I would do partial circumnavigations of Taiwan.
Right.
So we started like from... The first time was like Kaohsiung to Hualien, and then we came quick back down, or to Taipei, and then we came quick back down. And then we've done Taichung to Hualien the other way and cut through the middle of the island, and we've done a few other of those things. And so many, all of these places her and I have stopped off at, and then there's also that emotional side of like this particular friend of mine's adventures, Candace, and lots of memories there too.
Right.
So it's nice. Art is a really fun way to process things.
Yes.
And even if it's processing joy or processing sorrow. And I found there was a mix of that in the book of like, oh, this is, you know, it might not be back here, at least not for a while, and probably not with my friend again, just because of how life works.
Right.
But at the same time, so happy to have all of these memories and all this time spent. So,
yeah, exactly. Yeah. And I find that a lot of people, especially back in the West, it's always, we've got a destination, but so many times just getting there has been sometimes more fun than once we're at our final destination.
Some of my favorite stories of like traveling in Taiwan stories are ending up in weird places and times with that particular friend of like there's a really we treated a lot of traveling during COVID when the hotels and stuff were still open, but everyone was afraid to go places. And so we had some fabulous trips with very limited groups of people. And so one of the hotels we went to had most of it shut down except for the part where there was just us and like a few other families who were staying there, and just the like trying to figure out where to go, and everything is dark, and it was at a hot spring, so everything was just a little dank, like mineral water makes things dank, and you're like don't know what's going on and why are all the lights off. And it was because we were in one of the towers they had shut down because there was only like 5 people staying in this massive hotel, and so then like the figuring out how to get there and where to go, and that it's gonna be okay, and you know some of those things where the memory of that getting to that hotel was almost as good as like all the stuff we did in Taichung, you know, because
and just all the people that you met, and you've got this great relationship with this cafe owner. We hope to be back and do something with him as well because he's got some cool things.
He does. He's pretty awesome.
But the fact that you are getting out to go see things, I think is important too. The tagline and the reason why we started this series is don't stay home and recover, get out and discover. Because I'm sure you know with your Taiwanese co-workers, we work hard here, and it's work, not a lot of holiday, and the weekend a lot of people are just decompressing, which I get, but I find if you go out and do something, and sometimes I have to take my own advice, I don't feel like it, and then we just had that episode where we went for a drive up in the mountain, and it ended up being the Tong Blossom Festival, so it's all those white, which I never even knew about, so I had to research for the episode, and I just learned about how the Japanese planted them, and the oil was used for shellac and lacquers.
Very cool.
And who knew?
Yeah, I didn't know.
And so that was me pushing myself on a Sunday where I just wanted to stay home and read a book and drink a pot of tea. But, you know, you really push yourself. So the fact that you've done all this and you've gone all these places, because we are very lucky. Again, we're in a cafe, that's a cappuccino being made. We are lucky to have all of this, and it's a large island, but it is an island.
Yeah.
And you're able to get from different parts. The only part is getting from East Coast to West Coast, go over the mountains.
Yeah, we did that once. My friend Candace and I, we did that once, and it was an adventure.
Did you do that on scooters?
We did it on a car, and we did it at night, and we thought we were going to die the whole time.
Right.
But we didn't, so it was okay.
Yeah, so she's here to tell about it. But yeah, I know if you do some things, you have to take the train up north, and then you switch. And
well, we were able to do everything by car.
Right.
But you'd have to like have a car to be able to do it comfortably. Because scooters, you can't drive in the same highways that you can drive a car on. And so, like, just when we moved from Gaozhong to Taichung, my husband drove our scooter and I drove the car, and it took him like 5 hours to drive from Gaozhong to Taichung, which was a 2-hour car ride. Right. So.
But you're the personality that I click with, because you know there's things out there to see. Yeah. And people always say, stay home, relax. But I find it enjoyable to go out and do things. And
I spend very little time at home. Compared to being out and about. Even when I lived in the States, I had this kind of a home away from home type place where I would go do my reading, or I would do whatever activity that I needed to do, because just being at home all of the time, even around a teaching schedule where it's not really all the time, you're working 40 plus hours a week anyway, there's just something wonderful about experiencing something new, meeting new people, developing relationships, and enjoying time outside of your own, four walls.
Little bubble. And it also feels like you've done more. Like it feels like a longer than just 2 days.
Yeah.
Because you remember all the meals, you remember everything. It wasn't just, and I get it. I get when you've had enough and you just need to kind of recover, but there just is so much out.
So much to do.
And so many new restaurants, and we've met this Sri Lankan chef, and we went there once or twice, and then we did an interview, and we've just done a cooking lesson. Now he wants to do another one, and I just, and that's another thing about living here is it's not like at home, like where you'd eat out a couple times
because it's so expensive.
Yeah, and in Canada we're doing tax and tip.
Right. Same in the States.
Yeah, and so that is like a huge thing, and I tell friends we go out for brunch on the weekend, but it's not brunch like at home. Like we're not having mimosas or eggs Benedict or something. Like a lot of times it's like a dambing. We will be doing a show on that as well, which is one of my favorite things.
I love dambing.
Right? Yeah. So you won't be having that, and it's just like all of these cool things. Yeah. So I think it's great that you're taking the time to see things, and I think only a true artist does see that.
Thank
because there are things that you can take postcards of, you can take pictures of, but you're kind of really focusing on things that I would have focused on, if I went. So you've had a great experience.
I really have, yeah.
Yeah, and you still have a couple more days here.
Yep.
So
I think at this point it's a total of 5 more days in Taiwan total. And so there's a lot of emotion behind all of that, of course, too.
Right.
So.
And we're taking up her last Friday night.
Yes.
And then for the students, you've already done the goodbyes.
Yeah, they all went home, the dorm, for the summer anyway.
Okay.
And so we did we told them back in September that we weren't coming back to the school, and
Right.
then we told them again in January, February, when we found out that we weren't going to stay in Taiwan. That
Okay.
we're not staying in Taiwan.
Right.
And so there was a lot of very emotional goodbyes with that too.
Right.
Because dorming is a very, very interpersonal kind of connection where you build very, very tight familial relationships.
And bonds.
Yeah.
Because it's kind of their comfort zone,
Yeah.
your comfort zone.
And we were really lucky to have some returners from the year before who
Right.
came back that just went the next year. And this past year we had such a small dorm, there's only 7 boarders in the whole system,
Right.
that we were able to really dig into those relationships too. So
Cool.
it made it almost worse to
Yeah.
know that we're not coming back.
Right.
But I'm hoping that next year we might be able to make it for graduation
Yeah,
if the
that'll be
world
cool.
doesn't shut down again.
Yeah, that'll be cool.
Yeah.
And so are you living in the dorms with the kids?
Yeah. So we have an apartment off the edge of
Right.
like the dorming building, but we're out there 3 p.m. when they get back from school until 11 p.m. when the lights are out. And,
So you're helping with homework and everything?
and conversations, and we watch movies together, and
Right.
they play games and ask questions, talk about life. Like it's very parental,
Right.
like what you would expect
Right.
a parental relationship with kids
Because
to be.
the title is dorm parent?
Yeah, dorm parent.
Yeah, so you are like a parent.
parent, yeah.
And are they from all over Taiwan
So one
or
of the
international?
stipulations to go to an international school in Taiwan is you must hold a foreign passport.
Okay.
So all of the kids are technically are not Taiwanese.
Right.
Or if they are, they're mixed.
Right.
But this past year, there was no kids whose parents didn't live on the island.
Okay.
So Morrison is known as a pretty good international school and
Right.
around, and so a lot of parents want to send their kids.
Right.
And yeah.
Okay. So the parents are here as
Yeah.
well, but just in another part of Taiwan.
We had a lot of parents in Hsinchu and
Right.
a couple parents in Kaohsiung, and 2 families in Taipei.
Okay. But this is Morrison's only campus. the
Morrison
only-
actually has 4 campuses. They have
Oh.
a Chiayi, but it's very small, a Kaohsiung, Taichung, and Taipei.
Oh wow! I
Yeah.
didn't know that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, they're quite large
Okay.
system-wise.
But it's not international. No one from Malaysia or Singapore or something like that.
No parents were living internationally this
Okay.
year, but like we had a Malaysian student who had Malaysian parents, but mom was working in Taipei.
Oh,
if that
okay.
makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So yeah, it's been a cool kind of
Yeah.
experience
Yeah.
to come away from teaching and then
And go into the dorm parenting.
yeah, being a dorm parent. Because I just find that different situations give you different times. So
Yes.
again, we are in a cafe. This is your table.
Yeah, this is my table. This is where
So you
most
sit
of
here.
everything has been done
So
over the last
everything
2
that
years.
you've seen
Yeah.
created was this spot right
Yep.
here.
So
And-
much so that I actually dedicated a part of my coloring book to the soup that I ate every day and the caramel macchiatos, and Johnny, who
Oh my
you're
gosh.
hoping to interview later,
Yes.
wrote it in the...
So that's
Wrote it in the book.
always there.
Yeah.
So you sat here and your friend.
Yeah, my friend is a author. Her name is Annie Lima, and she
Okay.
writes fantasy books.
Okay.
And she's working on a new series right now. And she would sit across, and I would draw, and she would work, and I would ask her her opinions on my stuff, and she'd ask me opinions on her
Cool.
stuff. And it's been an amazing relationship, and it's something I'll miss for sure next year.
And now, is this the friend that we met at my opening, or it's another friend?
This is a different friend.
Okay.
Yeah.
But we will meet this friend as
Yeah,
well.
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So hopefully we'll be meeting her at some point as well. So thank you again
Yeah,
for
of
taking the
course.
time to meet us. Again, she's leaving on Sunday. It is Friday night.
Yeah.
My only regret is that we didn't have more time
I
to
know.
hang out.
Yeah.
Because I wasn't on Instagram. I called myself
Yeah.
the North Korean artist, but John from Lay Gallery
Oh, yeah.
insisted, and it's been wonderful. I have no regrets.
Yeah.
Everything is the time.
It's the right time.
Yeah,
The right...
which is why I'm
Yeah.
so interested in you coming here and being artistic,
Yeah.
because I was an artist, 20 years ago,
Yeah.
and then got into teaching, got into management, was principal,
Yeah.
and then it's kind of you have bills to pay, and
Exactly.
and I always was creative, and I was able to work that in my life, but I find that Taiwan has really, I had the show in March.
Yeah.
Now we're in the beginning of June. My show opened about a week and a half ago.
It's amazing.
So 2 shows in 3 months wouldn't be able to do
Amazing.
that
No,
in Toronto.
no. Yeah.
Yeah. So and just meeting people. Maybe Johnny, the owner of this cafe, will be hanging my artwork up at some point.
Maybe.
It's a cool space.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's my only regret.
Yeah.
But again, we met for a reason,
Yeah.
and I really clicked with you.
Yeah.
And I told friends about you.
Oh, thanks.
And I told John about you from Lake Gallery, and I was like, we got to get her in here. So again, thank you for taking the time.
Well, thank you.
We will stay in touch. She's incredibly talented, and I just love your stuff.
Well, thanks.
Yeah. So we will show some of her digital artwork as well. You'll send me some pictures, and we'll do a kind of little montage at the end of this. So all the best to you.
Thank you.
Taiwan is going to be missing you.
Thank you.
Because I just think your art is great. So I'm so glad that you got the chance to have the experiences that you did.
Yeah, thank you.
And I'm so glad that you got the time to meet with us and get to show your work to a bigger audience. So, from Abigail Nelson, formerly based in Taiwan, to who knows where.
Who knows where.
Who knows
Wherever the wind blows.
Yes, but we're going to stay in touch. It would be great to do episode 2.
I would love that.
If we go to the States, if you come back for a little visit or something.
That would be amazing.
And again, if you do print your stuff and you do a show, I'd love to see.
I will.
Finally, digital art printed and framed and on the wall.
Yes.
So thank you for your time. Thank you for introducing us to this. Cheers to you and everything that's coming your way.
Well, thank you.
Only good things. Yeah, we have to have a sip.
Or it's bad luck, right?
But it's wonderful here. So we've got lots of great things coming up. And again, like we were talking about, you've opened us up to this great new cafe. We hope to be doing something here in the future. And it's not goodbye, it's until we meet again.
Exactly.
So thank you so much for your time. And for all of you out there, she will have a website soon.
Yes. You can follow me on Instagram for now, @FromThePineappleFields.
Yeah, and we'll post that on the bottom of this video. So Friday night in Taichung City with a friend who's leaving. It seems that everyone's leaving.
I know. It's
coming,
weird.
going. It's Michael from Culture Talk and Tours, and we will see you on the next episode.
Perfect.
Good.
Thank you.
Yes.
And let me